Welcome everyone to our webinar on how to take your startup to South Korea with the K Startup Grand Challenge. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy. My name is Hana Kim, and I am the Global Initiatives Lead at Fark Labs, an innovation hub and transformation agent for startups in Turkey and around the world, and I will be your moderator today. We as Fark Labs are excited to host today's webinar in partnership with the K Startup Grand Challenge to get the word out on this great opportunity for startups like you to enter the South Korean market. We'll start today's webinar by hearing from Ahu Surder, Chief Entrepreneurial Officer of Fark Labs and President of Fark Holding, the parent company of Fark Labs. Afterwards, we'll hear about the details of the K Startup Grand Challenge and emoty.AI's journey to Korea as the first Turkish startup to be a finalist, and end with a Q&A. Please feel free to submit your questions now by writing in the live comment section. Now, I'd like to hand the mic to Ahu.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you very much. It is 5 a.m. in the US, and I'm very, very happy to be with all of you. This is quite an international assembly with Korea, US, and Turkey. Perhaps a little about the artwork right behind me. I chose to be in front of it because it's called Somos Unos, so we're all one. And actually, in the startup world and in the innovation world, what we are all trying to achieve is the same goal for all of us, to make a difference and to do something different. So that's why I'm very, very happy to be a part of this webinar. And also the co-hosting this webinar with the K Startup Grand Challenge for startups around the world to learn more about how they can grow their business in one of the hottest startup ecosystems right now. So perhaps a little bit of a background about myself and about our company. As you said, my name is Ahu Surder. I'm the president of Fark Holding. It's a conglomerate comprising mostly from industrial companies, a prominent automotive supplier, Farplus, and many other industrial companies inside. Like all industrial companies, we get into the habit of thinking, what will be the future of our industry? Who will be our customers in the near future? Actually, we used to think about always of future about 20 years, maybe 30 years, but future is much more closer than we think now. So future for us is who will be my customer next year, because everything is changing and it's changing very rapidly. So do the legacy businesses, more traditional businesses, have the ability to change that quickly? That was the main question in our minds when we decided to establish Fark Labs. What is Fark Labs? Fark Labs is an innovation lab to design a better version of the future for ourselves, for the people we work with, for our country, and everybody around us in a collaborative intelligence manner, so that we can cooperate to be fast, good, all together, so that we can reach a better future for everybody, and not single out any country, any person, or any talent. We started about 2 years ago. We started in Turkey. And we started with our main vertical, mobility, because how the automotive sector was evolving, it was from automotive to mobility. The way people were moving was changing very rapidly. So mobility is one of our first verticals. And in time, we also added life sciences and sustainable lifestyle. What do we do in Fark Labs? We do pretty much everything, because when you look at a new idea or new venture, they're all in different stage, and every venture needs a different kind of environment, different kind of resources. So in Fark Labs, we do from idea incubation to acceleration, to seed funding, to corporate VC investing. We also spin off some companies from more traditional enterprises, put into Fark Labs to revive what they have been doing, and then we bring it together with other startup founders. So it's an environment where ideas and people can flourish and excel without having to go to the troubles and obstacles of everyday corporate world. So why Korea, you might ask? um, all the traditional companies, we have all these networks. For example, Far Plus has always been working with Hyundai and Mobis in Korea. So we had ties in Korea. We've had an office for about 6 years. Today, our office people from Korea are also with us. We had an office in Paris, but we all use these offices in one direction. So we said, why do we not use this network in the automotive also for this network to learn about mobility? And we started other than Turkey, we started Fark Labs offices in Seoul, Korea, Paris, Shanghai, and Detroit are in the pipeline. We also have a local office in Ankara as well, within the Middle Eastern Technical University. So, and all these searches about how is the Korean startup system work? What is the Korean automotive system is evolving to? Who are the main actors of the system in Korea? All this quest for learning also brought us, surprisingly, to two young, very bright entrepreneurs from Turkey working in Korea. So when you start asking the right questions, the right answers started appear. And hence, we also came across the K Startup Grand Challenge, and we decided to cooperate with them to make them more known to the Turkish ecosystem, because Korea entails a lot of opportunities. It has a wonderful learning spirit, and the way Korea has been advancing in the past 50 years is a very good example for all of us. So with that intro, I leave the microphone to you. We wish you the best luck, all the challenge acceptors, all the competitors who decide to come and compete in this challenge. And we hope that you join every competition that you find, and then you find the best one for yourself. And then we also hope that you consider Turkey to grow your product and service afterwards. Turkey is a great place to build your POC, to manufacture, to expand your business into Europe and Middle East. What we all have to do is building bridges among these nice bridging stops, and we truly believe that Korea is one of those stops. Thank you, Hannah, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you, Ahu, and thank you for those inspiring words. Now we will hear from Chelsea Han, manager of the Global Startup Growth Team at K Startup Grand Challenge, to learn more about the application process. Chelsea?
Hello. Hi, everyone. So I'm Chelsea from National IT Industry Promotion Agency. And today I would like to introduce the K Startup Grand Challenge, our inbound program to attract foreign startups into Korea and incubate them. So I just share the screen and want to see if everybody could see the screen at the moment. Okay. So from now on, I would like to give you the introduction. Firstly, I'll briefly mention about the two organizations. The first one is Ministry of SMEs and Startups in Korea. So as you see, the South Korean government has been pouring a lot of resources into attracting excellent foreign talents into Korea so that we can globalize our ecosystem. So one of its mission is to develop and implement policies for SME ecosystem. So the ministry wouldn't only support Korean startups, but it also try to support foreign startups in Korea so that they can benefit from the ecosystem as well. And this one is my company, National IT Industry Promotion Agency, which is also the government action body. And our mission is to revitalize national and economic dynamism through ICT. So we would like to pursue the goal by running this K-Star Brand Challenge program. We have international branches all over the world, such as Vietnam and India, Singapore, and Silicon Valley. All those offices would help us getting market information of the overseas and also help recruit all the foreign startups to K-Star Grand Challenge. And the program's goal is to invite excellent global startups to Korea and become Asia's #1 startup business hub. So once you get accepted, we will provide global startups with fund, office space, one-on-one mentorship, consulting, investment opportunity, and business meeting with Korean companies to help you do business in Korea. So who can apply? The startups that are less than 7 years old, or if you are a pre-entrepreneur whose representative holds a foreign nationality, you can apply for the program. And it would be better if you have a clear objective to expand into Asia by using the Korean market as a stepping stone. And for the business skills, we do not have any restrictions, but it will be better if you have like fourth industrial revolution kind of items, such as AI, big data, cloud computing, digital transformation, and contactless, IoT, audio tech kind of things. So the program started 5 years ago in 2016. At the first year, we had more than 2,400 teams from 124 countries to apply for the program, but only 50 of them got selected. So you could see our competitive rate is kind of very high. And for the second year, we had 1,500 teams from 118 countries, and only 45 of them got selected. And for the last year, we had 2,600 teams from 118 countries, and only 60 teams got selected. So you could say that only 1 out of 40 teams would be selected, which means that only good companies could enter into K-Star Brand Challenge. So if you look at the right, you'll see that only 60 teams are getting selected. And once you get selected, you'll actually come to Korea and have a 3 month of incubation. And when you come to Korea, you will have each Korean accelerators to take care of you for the 3.5 months. And if you come to Korea, you will be also have Korean employee, which will be helping your business throughout the program, which is kind of you don't have to pay for the intern. So if you look at the timeline, we will get applications from April 15th to June 15th. So we have a little more than a month left until we close the application. Once we close the application, we will have it reviewed from June 21st to 25th. And then if you are one of the teams who won the application review, then we will hold the global edition from July 5th to July 9th. And after that, only 60 teams will get selected, and you'll be required to come to Korea and then serve 2-week quarantine. So if you come to Korea around August 15th, you will have 2 weeks to quarantine at the government facility. And after that, from September, you'll be required to actually come to Pangil Startup Campus, which is a co-working space. So during 3.5 months, you will be coming to the campus like 3 times a week, and then you'll meet a lot of accelerators who will try to help you like localize your item and also try to set set you up with local companies and make you some kind of investor deals and all kind of business activities. And at the end of November, you'll be having two evaluations. The first is settlement evaluation, and second one is demo day. So out of two evaluations, we will select only half of the teams out of 60 teams to continue business after the demo day. And you will be getting the financial support even after the demo day from January to April. So let me rephrase the benefits once more. You'll be provided with a 3-month acceleration program, which has one-on-one mentor sessions on various business topics, and also coaching on Korean language and Asian business culture. And you'll be provided with free office in Pangyo, located within a walking distance of Korea's top tech companies, and also not really far from Gangnam. And also, you will be meeting a lot of Korean companies. And lastly, we will give you try to support you with visa so that you can stay in Korea and also run your company legally. And we will also help you with establishing your corporation here and also give you the Korean intern. So basically, we'll try to help you with everything, including business and even outside the business. These are financial benefits for when you get selected. So if you are one of the top 60 teams that will come to Korea, every team will be awarded with $11,000 per team for living expenses and also doing business proposals. And if you are one of the top 30 teams who win at the demo day, then you will be awarded additional $11,000 per team. And this settlement funds will be divided into 3.5 months so that you can arrange your livings and kind of thing. And if you win the demo day, if you're top 10 teams, then you will be getting these prizes in addition to the settlement funds of $11,000. The first prize will be $120,000, and second prize will be $70,000, and third prize $40,000, fourth prize $25,000, and fifth prize $15,000. And if you're ranked 6 to 10, then you will be awarded with $10,000 each. These are the photos of Pandya Startup Campus. We will give you desks, also monitors, chairs, and we have all the facility there, like meeting rooms, and also we have all the equipments for your virtual conference. And we also have like fax machine, copy machine, and like water purifier, fridge, everything that you need. So to look at the process, please don't forget to apply by June 15th so that you will go through all the application review and global edition, and then you can finally come to Korea by August 15th. So from August 15th, we will have a 3.5-month acceleration program, and at the end of the program, we will have 2 evaluations to have you that enables you to continue business in Korea. If you look at the right, you will see all the testimonials from our past participants. So Kyoko from Almond Technology mentioned that Korea is one of the best places in terms of continuing your sense of normalcy in the situation. And Trevor, who won the second place, said that if you come to Korea, then you'll get to more than 4 billion people on a short flight from Korea. And it's a large domestic market of around 50 million people. And Raffaello from Regulexis mentioned that he experienced support for visa applications and help with documents, obtaining certifications, and assistance for establishing the company in Korea. And lastly, Claudia mentioned that Korea has a high level of healthcare system which allowed all the business to continue during the COVID-19 situation. So I guess these all kind of explains why you would want to choose Korea than other countries, and why you want to choose K-Star Brand Challenge other than all the acceleration program in the world. If you want to know more about the challenge, you can visit www.k-startupgc.org. And also we have other social media such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube channels. So you would want to type K-Star Brand Challenge in every social media. Well, thank you for listening. This is the end of my presentation. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Chelsea. Sounds like a great opportunity for startups. Now, and actually before we hear from emoty.AI, I just wanted to remind everybody that you can submit your questions now for the Q&A part at the very end in the comment section below. Now we will hear from Soner Abay and Ozan Yurtsever, who are the founders of emoty.AI, who will talk about their startup journey from Turkey to South Korea.
Hello, everyone. I think I will start. Hello again. I'm Soner Abay, and one of the founders of emoty.AI. I've been living in Korea for 8 months now, and I've been to 5 different accelerators in 3 different countries. And today with my co-founder Ozan and I will be sharing our experiences with Korean startup ecosystem and K-Startup Grand Challenge in general. And firstly, I will start with who are we and what problem we are trying to solve. And I think you can see my screen now, so I will proceed. As emoty.AI, we help companies to understand true feelings of their customers, allowing them to make better decisions in their marketing strategies. So customer-oriented companies, all of them share similar concerns. They all want to increase their sales, find the best market to sell their products, or choose the most effective way of advertising their services. And let's say you're a marketing director of such company and want to get some answers to these critical questions. The first thing you would do is going to a market research company and use some traditional methods such as focus groups or surveys. But these methods does not give you as satisfying as you expect. So the reason hides behind the human nature. Like research showed that the buying process is often emotional and subconscious. People don't even know the real reasons lying behind why they actually buy things. And to get the real intentions of your customers, you have to end up doing neuromarketing research. Like by using brain imaging, eye tracking, and other technologies, you can scientifically grab the real emotions and interpret them to do buying behaviors. But the problems start right over here. The tools that in this kind of researches are really expensive, hard to scale and moderate. And additionally, it is almost impossible now to conduct a physical research due to the COVID. And we are partnered up with Korea University. The professor Sang over there mentioned that they bought this eye tracking devices 6 years ago, costed them like $80,000, but they cannot use it because they have to gather everyone into the same room. They need to calibrate each devices, and they need to get this data from the devices and synchronize with the advertisement or any other stimuli. It's really hard for them, and it takes for them at least 3 weeks to do simple neuromarketing study. And if we consider like if they want to scale their research over hundreds, 200 thousands of people, it's costing them more than $1 million. So neuromarketing is not accessible for small or medium range companies. And what we are trying to do is eliminate this kind of costs and make neuromarketing accessible for everyone. So this is our solution. We enable to conduct unequipped and scalable research without the need for any special setup, without the hassle of gathering participants living thousands of kilometers away from each other in the same place. And our engineers have combined the power of neuroscience and artificial intelligence to develop technologies that you can truly understand your customers. And we can do all of these with only phone camera or laptop camera input without the need of any hardware. And thanks to the special data we collect, the methods we have developed, we have reached the best levels, almost the best levels in the world right now, and the literature. Okay, I'm not going to get into more details about emoty.AI. I'm trying to skip some parts because this is about our experience in Case Startup Grand Challenge in Korea General. So basically, this is our product. When you watch an advertisement, we can detect where are you looking at the screen, what do you feel, and we are synchronizing these two inputs, and market researchers can analyze whether their advertisement campaigns will be successful or not without spending millions of dollars. And this is what we did in Korea. We had meetings with brands and market research companies. They all suffer from the same scalability problem with devices for neuro research. And there is no end-to-end remote solution that meets all of their needs, even though technology adoption rate is very high in Korea. It was a virgin market for us. So we were kind of lucky to be here as working in neuromarketing industry. And this has given us some serious evidence that we can achieve product market fit in Korea because all of the Korean companies looking for new solutions, more technology-based solutions, trying to get rid of devices, but American or European companies failed to enter the Korean market because they mostly focusing on the Europe and the US right now, and we wanted to start with Korea, then expand our business to Europe and the US later. Now, I think we need to share more about Ksgc and our experience in Korea. Ozan will be sharing our experience.
Hello everyone again. Sonar, maybe you can come back one slide back so I can, when I am talking, people can see the progress being made. So actually, as Sonar said, we are living in Korea now. It has been over 8 months, and all of this time was a great journey for us in business side and also developing us here as an entrepreneur. Creating a lot of network from all over the world because K Startup Grand Challenge hosting a lot of startups from a lot of different countries, and you can meet here really successful and bright people to actually enlarge your network. So before coming to Korea, actually, after applied for K Startup Grand Challenge, we were in Istanbul as all team, and even the pandemic time, we was working in Collective House, which is a shared working space in Istanbul, Levent. So while we were working there in one day, at 5 a.m. Early morning, we got a mail from Ksgc that we accepted. So it was a very exciting day for us, but there were a really limited time for us to apply for the visa and just travel to Korea in pandemic time. So we had to be really quick, but thanks to Ksgc and the support of the team of Ksgc, actually, we got the visa within 2 days, even in the pandemic period. And then we were in the Korea, just in 1 week after we got accepted. So it was a really fast and quick process for us. And after that, of course, we got in the quarantine facility for 14 days. And after completing the quarantine, our K Startup Grand Challenge and Korea journey has started. So I want to start with talking about the startup campus here, firstly and shortly. Here, the startup campus of Ksgc is actually called Pangyo Startup Campus. This is located in Pangyo, and Pangyo is actually kind of like known as the Silicon Valley of Korea. So here, except the K Startup Grand Challenge startups, also other accelerators are located in the building, and you can meet with other people from other accelerators, local companies, and etc. And also the huge companies of Korea, most of the huge companies of Korea, located in Pangyo or around Pangyo. And as Chelsea said, Seoul is actually for the people, especially from Istanbul, I can say that it's not that far if you live in the center of Seoul and you are coming to Pangyo, or you are living in Pangyo, and you can access the Gangnam or any other places to create even more connections and network. The campus actually provides everything you need as an entrepreneur. They provide you a nice working space. They give you meeting rooms. They even have a gym here for you can also continue your sport activities. So they have everything here what you need to work all day long. And also, as I said, the global networking opportunity is great here. So you meet with great people, even though it's a really short amount of time, like 3.5 months competition. Then I can talk about the Ksgc's like business benefits, what they actually provide to entrepreneurs. So as a really early stage startup, we were a really early stage startup when we came here. Even though we had like different acceleration programs before, coming to Korea to a new market was a really challenging thing for us. So we need an acceleration. And thankfully, Ksgc has different acceleration programs inside within the competition. And we were one of these accelerators, and they were helping us about the business aspect in Korea. For example, signing an NDA with a company or accessing different potential customers. So it was a really helpful thing for an early stage foreign startup in Korea. Besides that, of course, the most important thing, they provide funding so that you can cover your living expenses and maybe some of the company expenses. Like if you are thinking about establishing here, or you already established, but you are trying to like move a branch here. So it's a really helpful thing. One thing more is they provide a free Korean intern. We had our intern Hee actually right now after like the competition period ends, and we are at the second page right now. She is working with us right now as full-time employee. So the intern they provided us actually turned out to be our employee. So it's a really it was a really great opportunity for us, because the intern actually helps you to remove the language and cultural barrier. I mean cultural barrier in the business processes, because the business, the way of working, the working way of business here is a little bit different for the people coming from other countries, I think. So it will help you to adapt the new ecosystem here. And of course, the visa support. Even though like the first time we come here, they helped us with visa, and then they helped us to get actually the entrepreneur visa here, like which is called D84. So this is a type of visa to take. It's not really easy to take this visa, but thanks to this program, actually we got it, and we can make business here. So the competition is 3.5 months, and through this competition process, I can give you maybe some tips to be successful after being selected for the program, and maybe you can send me some personal questions, and I can help you later about how to be successful in being selected in the program. So mostly what you will be doing here in this 3.5 months period is to working on your business development, getting to know the Korean market, accessing customers, and of course, it's really hard to do business if you are a foreigner here, you don't know language, and you need to know how to overcome it. And my advice is to, of course, always speak with the other entrepreneurs who passed from the same roads before, especially the previous contributors of Ksgc program, and I assure you that they will be really happy to help you and give you the answers which you are looking for. And also, as I said, here is a great ecosystem for startups. So like, except like staying in Pangeo and creating network with the existing startups here, you can actually connect with other startups, maybe related with your business, the local Korean startups, and they will be really friendly and also helpful to you about like creating network, or maybe you will create different opportunities for your startup here. My like advice about being successful in this competition, even though we didn't end up in top 5, we was still in the top 30 teams, so we are in the second page right now. And the lessons I took from the competition was like, first of all, you need to ensure that you have a product market fit in Korea. So your product is really creating some value, and there is a customer who are willing to pay some money for that value. So you need to show that there is a product market fit, there is a customer base, and this customer base has a great potential and it's really big, but also not limited with Korea, and there is a big potential to expand in Asia. And also you need to ensure that your startup and your business is beneficial to Korea, since it's a government supported program. I will suggest you to like sign a lot of LOEs, MOUs, NDAs, and any kind of showing any kind of significant business development is really helpful for you. For example, we did partnerships with universities such as like Korea University, so it helped us in the competition process, and also to access different customers, because like one of the best university in Korea was referencing to us. So I think you need to chase and follow this kind of strategies here if you want to be successful in this competition. Since I have a limited time, I would like to give words back to Soner. Maybe he would like to add something more. And if you have more questions, you can always access us via LinkedIn or our company mail account, info@emoty.AI. Thank you.
Sure. Maybe I can talk about the like what sort of challenges you can have you have to deal with as a foreign startup in Korea. As Ozan mentioned, the language barrier and the business culture will be your first challenge in Korea. But thankfully, Ksgc is providing a Korean intern for you to deal with this sort of obstacles. It was really helpful for us because we didn't know their language, and unlike other countries, they would like to prefer continue their conversations in Korean. So we really needed this Korean intern to do our business. As Ozan mentioned, we ended up hiring her as full-time employee. And as we were providing B2B solutions, we did not need to modify our products heavily to fit the Korean market. But if you have B2C startup, especially a mobile application, you might have problems with the UX design and thinking process of your user base. And I would say Korean people are more detail oriented, more rational, and have higher expectations from the companies if they're paying for a service. So you really need to understand how Korean people think in order to make a success here, especially, as I said, if you're B2C. But I think Ksgc is doing a great job to help you understand Korean markets. That's the thing I would add, what Ozan said. I think we can get back to questions.
Thank you so much, Soner and Ozan. You have a really interesting product and such great traction so far. So wishing you continued success, both in Korea, Turkey, and around the world. So now I'd like to open up the floor for questions. If you haven't already done so, you can submit your questions now by writing in the comments section. And we'll start with one of the questions that came through the comment section. What if a company gets selected in the top 60 and didn't make it to the top 30. What will happen to that company? And can we bring Chelsea back in so that she can respond to the question?
Hey, Arif. Well, thank you for the question. So when you're not selected, one of the top 30 companies, you can still use the office space, but you wouldn't get additional funds. So, and we will also try to help you with visa process. So it's like basically you'll get to just get the same benefits with the top 60, but without financial support.
Okay, thank you. And now let's go to another question. As I understand, the K Startup Grand Challenge program is getting support from the Korean government. Do you think that might have some ownership issues for us?
Okay. Well, thank you, Ismail, for the question, but I quite didn't get the part of ownership issues. Like, we don't really require a part of share when you would participate in the challenge.
Okay, now let's move to a question for Ozan and Soner. The question is, can you cover what it will take to get selected? So what you need to do to prepare to be one of the finalists.
Okay, maybe I can answer shortly. To be finalist or like to be selected for the program, I think the most important thing, as I said when I was talking previously, to proving that you have a product market fit here in Korea. Of course, like you can't prove it with really strong things like you have some partnerships or connections before you come in here, but at least you can show that you made your own work, so you have a like solid plan when you come here, and you will have a limited time, so you will need to show that how efficiently you will use that amount of time, and also what your business will bring to Korea, like which benefits actually it will bring to Korea, and what's the possibility of being successful for your startup here in Korea. So I think you need to solidify all of these things before pitching to judges here in the Startup Grand Challenge selection process.
Maybe I can add something to that. And I think for the selection process, if you pass the document review stage, you will be given chance to do online pitching, and in that pitching, you should really focus on why Korea, and that's the part we really focused on. Why we really want to Korea? Do we really have a market over there? If we come to Korea, how are we going to deal with the competition? So you really even need to think about the marketing strategies and how would you penetrate the market in Korea. So it should make sense for you to actually come to Korea if you want to be selected, I think.
Thank you. We have another question for Chelsea. We have a startup in Turkey for 3 years about financial solutions. We try to go abroad and make a model that is suitable all around the world. We want to find partners. Can you help us cover this process?
Of course. I think owner's startup is eligible to apply for the Key Startup Grand Challenge because his company is like less than 7 years old. And for the financial solution part, it is one of our business field too. So if you get accepted to the program, then we will allocate a Korean accelerator to help you you find your investor and help you find a local partner here and also try to find Korean clients here. So like in all ways possible, we would try to help you to find partners and everything else other than that.
Hannah, can I ask, can I cut
Yes,
in with the question so that
you were going
from
to
an
be next.
investor's point of view
Yes.
to our entrepreneurs? You did a good comment. I think when you go to Korea, you have to know what you want to get and what will be the strength that you want from Korea. So are you trying to expand your market? So what is the more weight for you? Is it the market finding customers or the technology side? That's my first question. And second, how are you in the fundraising process? For example, are in the challenge, the startup, are they also preparing you for the fundraising in addition to what they have supported you with?
Sure. For the first question, I think Korea is a virgin market for us. As I said, we have a big competition for the devices neurotechnologies in the US, in the Europe, but to penetrate market in Asia, you have to be here because they like to have a physical connection with you. They really need someone to speak in Korean, or like if you're Chinese or Japanese. So companies often do not want to deal with this, and just they want to expand their business globally without setting office everywhere. So we had this upper hand compared to our main competitors to actually being in Korea. So we wanted to start to it it was a niche market for us. So we want to develop our product here, and after we feel more confident to compete with these bigger companies, we will expand our business from Korea to the Europe to the US. That was
Okay.
my answer for the first question. And for the second one, we are on the fundraising process. We are currently not from the Korea, but I will talk about maybe government funds about this, because Ksgc is not the only government fund we got over here. Korean governments gives a lot of support to companies, especially if your focus is AI. They are really pouring billions of dollars every year to startups just to make them successful. And since our company, like headquartered in Korea, we have bigger chance, because they don't treat us foreigners, because we are a Korean company. We have the same access to same chance as other Korean startups, and we got another government fund other than Ksgc, and like we are working almost full time to apply for these programs, because there are a lot of programs. So like after several months of program Ksgc, you can still get other government funds, especially if you have AI startup. And for the fundraising, we are raising $200,000 currently. Yeah, maybe Ozan can add something to that.
Yeah, I can add shortly. Yeah, we are actively looking for funds right now in Turkey and in Korea. So the opportunities is great here, and I suggest every startup owner to consider Korea, but only if there is a really product market fit here, or like just for joining a competition or having an experience. I think it's not a good idea because like anyways, after the competition, you will need to turn back to your company, and maybe it can be a time losing process for you. So like if you really believe that you have a chance to stick here and like expand your business, or maybe not expand, like you can be an early stage startup owner, then like start your business here, then go for it, and don't wait even 5 minutes more. Go to apply. Okay, startup opportunities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we have another question for Chelsea. If someone has already attended the program previously, and this person, Kuram, is saying in 2017 and 18, and now has a new startup, is it possible to reapply?
Hi, Karam. I remember him. He was in Korea when I was running the program. But unfortunately, we're not really accepting anyone who had previously participated at the moment. So you could probably have somebody other than you know, to give the chance.
Thank you. And we have another question for Chelsea. What is the ideal TRL level, technology readiness level of a startup to make it to the K Startup Grand Challenge?
Well, okay, thanks for the question. We do not currently have any like the criteria of technology at the moment. So it's like we have a lot of other criteria to evaluate startups, such as your team or your business model, or like your willingness to come to Korea and like your market status and everything. But um, technology is just one of the sectors that we evaluate startups. You don't have to reach to a certain level of technology to be accepted to Key Startup Brand Challenge. So probably you don't really need to worry about that.
Okay, thank you. And here's another question for Ozan and Soner. Is the competition less in Turkey than in Korea for your startup?
I think it depends on the industry your startup is working on. I would say like, yeah, it's exactly that. Depends on the industry. There are some industries which are like more competitive than Korea, while in Korea there are some industries more competitive than Turkey.
Yeah, as Ozan said, I think it really depends on the industry. But I would say startup ecosystem is much more popular in Korea. You know, there's even TV series called Startup on the Netflix shoots in South Korea. So Korean people really love to create things, and I heard that like there are more than 20,000 startups being launched every year. I'm not sure how is it possible, but that's the number I heard. So it might be really competitive.
One more question for Chelsea. Do we need to have our product or service ready for the market to be accepted?
Not necessarily, because it doesn't really matter if your product or service is out in the market or not, because we saw I've seen a lot of startups who probably win like one of the top prizes at a demo day when their product was not actually like ready in the market. But even though your service or product is not really released yet, we would also try to like see the potential of your product or service that is going to come out. So if I would answer the question, it's not really necessary. I mean, but to get the advantage over the startups who actually have product or service, you better prepare your plans accordingly. Like, what plans do you have for the future? Uh, like service and product. When will it come out after all the R&D or that kind of stuff?
Okay, great. And another question for you, Chelsea. How many from the team can participate in Ksgc?
We don't really limit the number of participants, but we can only give you the desk and chairs for 2 people per team due to the limited space, and uh, also due to prevent COVID-19 and all the kind of things. So it would be better if you come in like two two people per team, but you can also bring as many as you want if you feel that is necessary.
Okay, great. And we have another question. I have been wondering how you are surviving during your stay in Korea. This is for Soner and Ozan. Are you receiving pocket money, etc., for your daily expenditures?
We are giving a settlement fund by the Ksgc. We are using that money to survive in Korea and operate our business. I think it's sufficient for us to survive and operate our business, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then another question, thanks for your clarification. This is for Chelsea on my question about technology readiness levels. Would it be a good idea to work with any of your counterparts in India, or can we write to you asking for additional clarification?
So if you have any questions, you can write to our Indian branch or also our representative email account, which is k-startupgc@nipod.kr. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions via email.
Great, thank you. And actually, I think we are out of time for more questions. But I love the enthusiasm from all of you. So for those of you whose questions weren't able to be answered, or if you have further questions, you can refer to the description below where we have added the contact information for K Startup Grand Challenge, which Chelsea just mentioned. Also emoty.AI and also Fark Labs. So you can see our email addresses and our websites there. And another reminder that applications are due on June 15th. So you've got about a month left. Feel free to share this webinar with any other startups or watch it again because it will live as a recording on our YouTube channel. And finally, thanks to everyone for attending our webinar on how to take your startup to Korea with the K Startup Grand Challenge. Best of luck, stay healthy, and stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.